You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your coach Jason.
This is your coach Danny.
Fans, we got a full show for you today. The Olympics. Enough said. Danny, we'll go right into the gold medal game against France. And oh boy, what a game by both basketball teams, the USA men's and women's gold medal matches. But first, we'll start with the ladies here who eked out a win in the gold medal game against France, 67-66, just by a smidge beyond the 3-point line. Did the United States really avoid having to go to overtime? This was an interesting game. Honestly, I picked it up more so in the second half. They showed up when they needed to show up. Wilson showed up and saved the USA women's basketball team, along with Copper. Those two really saved the USA women's basketball team. But nonetheless, man, they prevailed, and a very interesting streak of 60 games in a row. Now 61 games won in a row. That was in jeopardy. But nonetheless, the USA women's basketball team comes out as pure gold. What say you, Danny, about this game?
One thing interesting, Jason, about A'ja Wilson was until that fourth, like late in the second or third quarter and most of the fourth, she was off. Like she was actually a detriment on the offensive end because she couldn't make a layup. Like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if it was nerves or the way they were defending her, because she was frustrated too because she was, asking for fouls. But then she turned it on in the second half, and they needed every bucket from her. But Copper came up big. Kelsey Plum actually came up big, too, because she had some big shots, some big free throws. They were lucky because Gabby Williams, it made me think of KD when they played the Bucks. When KD's toe was over the line.
Yeah.
In that playoff series, which could have turned everything around that year. It was similar, man, because when Williams threw that up, I saw it initially, but I was like, man, and she banked it. They were lucky. France, man, give them a lot of credit. They hung in there because they had a lot of turnovers. And with that, they still played and defended the USA well, which caused the USA to have a lot of turnovers. So it was a very sloppy game from that aspect, but from the dramatics perspective, because the USA was down 10 in the third quarter and came all the way back. And I was questioning some of the substitution patterns of the coach, just because it was like they're struggling. You need some offense because they only had 25 points in the first half. Both teams, it was tied at half. Great to see. I did not want to see the women because you knew what was coming next. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they should have been on the team. But they didn't have to answer that question because they ended up winning. So congratulations to them getting the gold, and congratulations for France, man, for putting up a great fight.
And just as you said that, Danny, I think coaching is a common theme when it comes to USA basketball, as that is a big question on the men's side as well, and where the USA men's basketball team prevail with the heroics of none other than Steph Curry in the gold medal game. 98-87, a close game, especially in the fourth quarter. Steph does it again, closes the show. And I think Steph definitely saved the USA men's basketball team, man, in this game. LeBron ultimately ends up with the MVP of the Olympics. LeBron's stat line here is 14 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. But I'm going to include 5 turnovers. That is a part of his stat line. That's something to be pointed out there. But nonetheless, KD, 15 points. He came up huge. Devin Booker came up major with 15 points. And this was definitely a team effort. Jason Tatum did get into the game 11 minutes, scored 2 points. And then you had Anthony Davis, 8 points. Joel Embiid, 4 points. He got substituted out. I think the game for Joel Embiid was that of against Serbia, against Jokic. And I think this was a game for the ages, Danny. I think this adds to Steph's legacy. I mean, it adds to all their legacy. Don't get it twisted. But Steph in particular, his legend grows internationally even more so with the display that he put on. Obviously, the controversy is that of Jason Tatum only getting a few minutes here, but there were 2 games he did not play based upon coach's decision. Controversy ensues. I think it's the reason for that. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. I think it's about matchups, but I think it's more importantly about LeBron bringing the ball up, man. Who can LeBron really play with?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so you had your multi-generational impact here, right? So you had LeBron, KD, and Steph, the old guard, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to play a little bit slower paced brand versus that of Devin Booker and, well, Devin Booker played, but versus that of Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and I would even throw Halliburton in there. I think if you had those 3, I think the speed or the pace of the game would have been quite different. So I think that's something that, folks need to kind of take under consideration. But nonetheless, man, the United States gets it done for both the men's and women. What say you, Danny, about the men's game?
Congratulations to the men's team. I was sweating that one out too. And looking forward in 4 years, the USA has a lot of questions to answer and prepare as these teams we talked about last show, but France really showed you what they have. They're young. A couple guys, Fournier is a little older, a little long in the tooth, but they're going to have some talent with Wemby being there. As long as he can stay healthy and the surrounding pieces, they're going to be a tough out. But yeah, man, Steph's like, when you can take jump out your seat with some of the shots he was hitting, especially that last one when he hit over the double team. And he was draining them too. It wasn't like some trash shots. It was amazing, man. And LeBron, he selected his moments where he needed to be aggressive. And that was huge in this game because a couple of times he just went right at France, which I think got the team going. And then KD was hitting his shots, like you said. And I look at Tatum, and when he was in the game, man, he just didn't. I know he hasn't been playing, but he just didn't seem like he was in the flow.
No.
Like he just seemed like out of place. And this may be something too, once you get to the next Olympics, where this is where his time to shine kind of thing. It wasn't here because Curry, Durant, LeBron are there. And unless they return at their ripe old age of 40 plus, it could be Tatum's or whomever. But I just look at that and like the physicality, I'm not sure if that bothered Tatum because these games are physical. I'm assuming that's why Halliburton wasn't playing because this the style of play, like you said, he's more of an up and down player, and the physicality slows the game down, which kind of hampers Halliburton's game a little bit. But man, it was just a great game, and France again hung in there and didn't let the USA off easy. So they kept it tight until the end. And they needed every bucket from Curry.
Yep, sure did. Danny, I think there's a couple of things here we definitely need to talk about. I think one thing we need to talk about is first or second of all, giving congratulations to both the men's and women's basketball team of France, and
Hmm.
for France putting on an excellent Olympics,
Yeah.
and France basketball teams for really showcasing and really competing. I think a rivalry is there.
Hmm.
And I'm really curious as to the 2028 LA Olympics, and who we're going to put on this squad.
Hmm.
Uh, and we got to look at France again, Danny. One thing to keep in mind is in this year's NBA draft, you had three French players in the top six. So
Hmm.
you had uh, Zachary Rasacher and Alex Sarr went 1 and 2. And number six, it was Tijane Saloon. And I'm pretty certain I butchered their name. No disrespect. My apologies there. And then at number 25, you had Pacomi Dadiet. And so you already have three, you have, excuse me, four players in the first round from French, and then you have Wemby from last year, so that's already five. So add 4 years of experience, and you have a French team that is deep, young, hungry, wants to get some get back on U.S. soil,
Yep.
and so I think a rivalry is there. And this caused me to really look at who else can we put on the U.S. men's basketball team. And I think one of the areas that we're lacking is size.
Hmm.
Um, I don't, Anthony Davis right now looks like he's 31 years old. I don't know if he's going to be back, right? Bam is 27. I can see him being back, but he's not a true center. And so I looked at who else could be a center for America, Danny. And one is Jared Allen. He's 26 years old right now.
Hmm.
Miles Turner, 28 years old. Nick Claxton, 25 years old. I think those individuals, and Chet Holmgren, I think those individuals, I think needs to be, really considered possibly, to be part of the U.S. men's basketball team moving forward, and really just start to prepare them for FIBA basketball, international basketball, and ultimately for the Olympics, because I don't still want us to get caught slipping.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing too, Danny, to add on to it real quick.
Yeah.
I believe that the NBA is going to change some of these rules. I believe they're going to change some of these rules moving forward. I think our game is not as physical as the international game any longer,
No.
and so I could see like maybe some hand checking, maybe a little bit more physical play, really start to become a norm in the NBA. So I'd say probably in the next year or so, I think they're gonna give Steph some time to go
Hmm.
ahead and do what Steph does, right, under the current
Yep.
rules. But in a couple of years, for certain, they're gonna change some of these rules to prepare for international play. What say you, Danny, about future of 2028 team and also rule changes?
Yeah, Jay, I think that big man wise, we'll see what Embiid, what he looks like in a couple years. If he's going to be around to
Man, I
like,
ain't counting the beat, man.
because I look at the guys you mentioned, right? Like a Holmgren, Nick Claxton, Jared Allen. They're Jared Allen, I think, will be the best of that group you mentioned. I think Holmgren would fit in because he has offense. But the thing
Hmm.
is, with this game, like you mentioned, they gotta be ready for this physicality
Hmm. Hmm.
because these dudes, I mean, some of those, I was like, They didn't call that. They, I mean, cats are getting destroyed on
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides. Not just the teams USA was playing, but USA was, dishing it out too.
Hmm.
And you have to, because otherwise you out there, you're getting punked. And you can't do that in this game. And just the tempo of the game and things like that. And you get that from the World Championships, right? But the Olympics, when the medals on the line and how these games are played, yeah, you need somebody with a whole, and you never know who's coming through, right? From the college
Yep.
game,
Yep.
who
Hmm.
can develop as well. So that may, because you'll keep the guys on as long as they want to play, like the younger
Hmm.
guys that are on the team this time around, because they've been through it. And Jaylen Brown's going to be on the team, assuming health, but maybe not. but but
Oh
that being
no.
said, I agree. I think the bigs is where they really need to shore it up, and get some people out there that can actually bang out there, because even AD out there, it was tough for
Hmm.
him to handle some of these guys
Hmm. Hmm.
because just the way they're playing, man, and they're not used to that. And I
Hmm.
think that, like, the game's evolved over here in the NBA to where everything is like Olay because they're trying to get the offense up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because we remember the pound and grind and in the 90s, the 80s,
Yeah.
90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s, before they kind of start moving those rules to more of the offense, not the defense. Because some of those games are ugly to watch.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's from a consumer perspective, they want to see the scoring. But I agree, man. You got to, coming into LA 2028, man, they got to shore up the big man.
Yeah.
A couple, too, not just one, because there's only 5 fouls, too, in
Yeah.
international play. So they got to make sure they have at least two solid guys. Because I'm assuming if AD can stay healthy, he will play, because if he's still with LA, he'll be
Hmm.
in LA.
Hmm.
But that's hard to say, man. It's 4 years away, and a lot can happen in 4 years.
Well, I'll say this about, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown and White and Drew Holiday. Listen, I think it's going to be a revenge tour.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be a revenge tour. I mean, Drew, obviously, he got his minutes. And the second time that he has won a championship, signed an extension in the contract, and then ultimately won a gold. So
Mhm.
um, Drew is making a case for a Hall of Fame bid here. But um, I think the regular season for the Boston Celtics in the playoffs, I think the NBA is in trouble. I think the Eastern Conference is in trouble, man. I really do. So we'll see what happens there. And to that point, Danny, gotta ask this question because
Mhm.
Noah Lyles mentioned something a few months ago about being a world champion, right?
Mhm.
Uh, NBA championship team indicating or acknowledging or proclaiming that they're world champions. And I think the controversy was world champions of what?
Yeah.
And the NBA is a world league. When you think about a lot of players coming from all over to be part of what a lot would say is the best basketball league in the world.
Yeah.
So I think more so that's where the world championship aspect comes from, right?
Hmm.
But now that America has won the gold medal again, are they world champions? And does that make the NBA the world league? So any team that is in this who wins the championship would be dubbed world champions.
Yep.
Would you agree there?
I agree.
Okay.
And because, well, you got to look at it too, Jason. All these players are striving to get to the NBA
Yep.
internationally.
Hmm. Hmm.
There are reasons, some guys just like they're talking about the one guy from France the other day, where he's like,
Hmm.
man, I'm good where I'm playing. But ultimately, players want to get to the NBA because that's the top talent.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
So all the big international players like the Lucas, the
Mm-hmm.
Giannis's,
Mm-hmm.
Nikola Jokic. All the top players on these teams are represented within the NBA itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I
True
was.
enough, and I'll say too to that point, world champions. Yeah, I can see definitely any NBA team winning the championship is a world champion. It's been like that for quite some time. Like you said, I mean,
Mhm.
everybody aspires to be in the league. So, and Danny, there's just been so many over this past weekend. There's so many highlights, man. In uh, the Olympics, I mean, you had the likes of track, the ladies getting gold in the 4x4, and also in the 4x1. The men getting, and they got the 4x1. The ladies got the 4x1 in the Olympic record. Um, and then got the 4x4 in the Olympic record. The fellas, the mile relay, the 4x4, they win gold. In the 4x1, I don't know what happened. They bumbled the baton again, man.
Mhm.
And they're going to have to shore this up in 28. I don't. They're going to have the same people to run the legs. I don't know. Something's got to happen, man. We cannot bumble.
They're too
This
talented.
too talented, man. Too talented. So there's something that needs to happen there. But man, Quincy is amazing. 400 run, come back from what he was in sixth place or something like that, coming off the turn. The next thing you know, man, he wins the gold. I mean, he just has some incredible races. I mean, I watched the steeplechase. I watched the 1500 meters, the 10,000 meters. Listen, a lot of the competition is a lot of the races were phenomenal.
Mhm.
And the USA track team really stepped up to the plate. Now, there's been some controversy regarding Jamaica. There was a few instances where Jamaican racers had to actually bounce out due to whether it's injury or uh, having trouble getting into the arena because of different gates, whatever the case may be. But the USA really, really showed who they were, man, on the track. What say you, Danny, about the rest of this Olympics?
It was amazing, put it like that. And every night there's something to look forward to. The 400-meter hurdles, Benjamin doing what he did to finally get the gold after what happened in the last Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And then him coming in and anchoring the 4x4, the mile relay to end up getting Quincy Wilson the gold, the 16-year-old. The 4x1, it sounds like they panned into Carl Lewis going off on people. And it sounds like rumor is that they switched the order, because Noah Lyles did not participate due to COVID. It sounds like because they switched everybody around. So then that must have messed up the first leg with Kenny, Kung Fu Kenny, in the second leg because they DQ'd at that point. And when I saw that, man, I just shook my head because it's like,
Here we go again.
here we go again, man. And
Mm-hmm.
you have the some of the top talent in the 100 meters sprinters, and something has to give, man. So I'm hoping they get it right in LA. They'll be home, maybe some home cooking or something will get them right. But this is just inexcusable. The women, the 4x1 with Sha'Carri Richardson coming from fourth place to pull that out, that was, man. And then the women's 4x4 was amazing. Just how they dominated. They almost, the handoff between Sydney McLaughlin, LeBron, and Gabby Thomas
Mm-hmm.
almost cost them because Gabby almost
Mm-hmm.
went out of bounds
Sure
with that
did.
big lead. I mean, literally almost had like a 75-meter lead. I'm gonna be sad, man, because I'm gonna miss the Olympics and every night
Yeah.
getting that excitement and all the different events that are going on. One thing they need to reconsider is that breaking. They need to get somebody that can break dance out there. But that was one I was like, oh man, I don't know about this. Nice job by France putting on a good show, and
Mm-hmm.
now we look forward to LA in 2028.
And Danny, there's two other athletes here in the track. Gotta give a shout out to Grant Holloway and also to Messiah Russell for both winning the 110 meter hurdles. So, man, it was something else, man. Every single night there was a great race, man, or even a field competition.
Yes.
We were watching the high jump. And it was this amazing, man. Shelby McEwen, man, he was going for it. He ended up getting silver. Amish Kerr got gold, but man, it was a great competition, man. So all throughout, man, the Olympics, it was just an amazing competition. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.